It's time for an alternative paper review.
Well, good morning, you sexy mother hubbards. It's time, of course, for an alternative paper review. Let's get it. First up to the Sun. Yankee Harry. Prince talks of becoming US citizen. Like royalist right-wing papers like the Sun, the Mail, the Express, they all have this weird place that they occupy, don't they? Where they're constantly badgering, pillorying, mocking Harry and Meghan. You know, they're like, well, we should take away their titles. Oh, we should banish them, strip them of their citizenship. And then when it transpires that the two of them were actually considering just voluntarily, giving up their titles and becoming American citizens, then the same great minds of the right-wing press are like, well, no, hang on a second. How dare they do that? That would be disrespectful. We're like, you always talk about taking their titles away from them. They're thinking about relinquishing them, and now you're upset about it? Look, yeah. Because I want it to be my decision. And I want them to be sad about it. And from right-wing royalists to left-wing royalists. Harry, I love my family. I read that and I'm like, Let me read that again. Harry, I love my family. I mean, I don't know how your Christmas was, but that headline does nothing to dispel the idea that the royals are nothing like us. Also in the left-wing sphere, The Eye and The Guardian both cover the probable murder of Alexei Navalny by the Kremlin, by Vladimir Putin. Now, I don't want to spend too long talking about this because I already kind of covered it on last night's podcast. But I will just say this. It is interesting seeing right-wing authoritarians in the UK use this story as an opportunity to bash Vladimir Putin's Russia. They're like, oh, he's ruthless. Oh, he's an authoritarian dictator. And then I pan out. And I look at some of the policies people like Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, Boris Johnson have rolled out or attempted to roll out over the last 5 or 6 years. Oh, he's a ruthless authoritarian and the world needs to take action. Against his vote rigging, crushing of protest, crushing of dissent. I don't suppose anyone in CCHQ wants to hear this today or this weekend, but you lot are only a few steps behind Vladimir Putin. Remember when this lot were cheering on the coronation? And then you had the anti-monarchy demonstrators over here? And then they were just, bundled into a police van and thrown into a jail cell. And then later released without charge. Because there was nothing criminal taking place. They just didn't like the protesting. Same thing at Conservative Party conference a few months back when people were protesting austerity, saying it had killed tens of thousands of Brits. They had their signs confiscated, moved on. They were like, this isn't Russia. We're allowed to protest here. What are you doing? And this lot are like, we have to fight authoritarians. And I'm like, yeah, we do. Finally, to The Guardian, who have Donald Trump ordered to pay over $350 million in New York financial fraud case. So this is on top of the civil case by E. Jean Carroll, who successfully sued Trump last year for raping her. He's already $83 million in the hole from that. This is on top of that. This is for running a crooked sham organisation where they inflated the value of their assets and then deflated them come tax time. How did it work? Well, it's actually quite simple. So he would have representatives from a bank come over and then agree to loan him money on the basis that his buildings were worth, say, $1 billion. Because the higher the value of the building, the more it can be used as a deposit to then extract money from the bank, right? The bank will be like, yeah, we'll lend you 500 million because you've got this massive building here and it's worth a lot of money. Then when those same assets were declared on tax documentation, the Trump org would be like, well, that's not really worth much, to be honest. So the long story short is that A doesn't equal B, and now the US government are like, well, clearly you owe us about $400 million in taxes then. Cue all of the MAGA lot immediately leaping to his defense. This is a witch hunt. This is a sham trial. This is an outrage. Why you can't be mean to Donald? Leave Britney alone! I mean, what gets me about the MAGA lot is the basics, the fundamentals. They just don't make sense. How have you guys not put this puzzle together yet? Here you have a self-professed billionaire, right? On record, how many times describing himself as a billionaire? At one point, he said he was worth 10 billion. If he's worth 10 billion, then this little fine, probably nothing to worry about, right? But if he's worth 10 billion, or even 1 billion, why is he asking you lot to text in and donate money? Why does a billionaire Just think about how much money that is. Not $100 million, not $500 million, $1 billion, right? Why does a billionaire need to raise even 30 million for his campaign finance money? Now, there's a lot of people saying Donald Trump will just appeal these verdicts, so it's, it'll be kicked into the long grass, which is probably to some extent true. However, I was reading this morning, apparently even just to appeal it, you have to take the original settlement fee, add on an extra 10% to cover the interest that the person would have got if you'd handed it straight over. You've got to put the whole settlement plus like 10% into a holding account while the appeal process goes through. So yeah, guys, like even the appeals process alone could bankrupt him. So yeah, I'm just going to say this now, right? Between Donald Trump's $350 million fine and Rishi Sunak's double by-election defeat, it's very much feeling like it's bonfire of the bellends time.